everyone, my name is Andrew Gagne, the founder of Foundry Social. We are doing a presentation today on social engagement ethics, keeping people happy and yourself out of trouble. These are 45 points that I keep in mind every time I do a project or did a project, and I think they're immensely helpful for everyone else who's doing their own work on their own. So we're going to cover our topics in three big chunks, three main parts: the good stuff, things that keep people happy; the bad, mistakes that we make and how to avoid them; and finally the ugly, managing trolls, and keeping your dignity while staying out of jail. So remember, terroristic threats, no matter how unintended, are still considered breaking the law. So super important. Remember the rule of one. Every time you do an action or focus on a goal, your goal is to affect one person at a time. And I know social media has an innate attractiveness that you can reach millions and millions of people without spending any money and sell all the product that you want or get all the donations that you need to fund your projects. However, social media is kind of like a person on a lake, right? As they, if they're driving a boat across the lake, they can't really affect what's immediately left and right of them. They can only go forward, but they leave a wake behind them. And social media is sort of the same thing, that you can't really directly control this big conversation happening all around you all the time on what we call social media, this nebulous cloud of connected people and computers everywhere, but you can control what happens to people as they talk to you one at a time. So focusing on one victory, one conversation, one positive experience at a time means that while you won't be able to control what happens to your social media directly and as far as its relationships with other people, you will be able to indirectly control it by putting all these happy shared experiences out there into the cloud. So just remember the rule of one. Victory is not found by focusing on the group. Victory is found by focusing on the individuals, especially as a small enterprise. Number two, be patient. Social media is really a technical term for relationships, but on the internet. And like all relationships, you need time and trust to affect them, to have a deep and meaningful one that does something for you. So be patient. Give yourself a 6-month window to succeed in any goal that you set. Remember also, this should be really fun. This should be your favorite part of the day. You should love coming in and doing your social media. You should really enjoy it. Scheduling your content, reading up on your favorite blog authors on what they think and what they've seen and what they've learned, and sharing it with your own audience. So this should be fun. It should be useful. You should be learning all the time. If you're doing great social media, you are becoming an expert. Even if you don't start off an expert, you will become an expert at what it is you're trying to do, simply because you'll be reading and sharing and posting and commenting so much that you will be involved in the education and become a thought leader. So it should be very fun. It should be useful. If social media to you gets to be annoying or fruitless, it doesn't produce any goals, it doesn't do anything, it just costs you time, costs you money, there's something that's not right, that's not working well. Or maybe you are the one in a billion people that have a market that just does not do well on social media, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So if you are one of those people, then just recognize social media is not for you. But for the vast majority of people, social media is for you, and it will work depending on how you treat it and how well you respect your audience. So getting into the presentation proper, our first part, good basics. Remember to fully complete every profile on every network every time, because if it's a slot with information to be put into it, it's there because people are looking at your site for that information. Whether or not it makes sense to you or not, don't think of it in terms of that. Think of it in terms of Facebook would not have given me the option to fill this out if it was not important to Facebook users. So think in terms of, it may not be important to me, but it is important to at least a segment of my audience. So remember to fill out your information fully and completely every time. Try to update your information about once a quarter. And this does two things for you. First off, it keeps you from forgetting to change the phone number, the address, the brand, the logo, who was in charge of what, if you're posting up the people that they are reaching out to talk to when they send the Facebook site a message. But also, when you update your profile on a regular frequency, Facebook will send a notice to all the people that have not seen your page in a while and say, hey, this page has updated some crucial information, you should come check it out, and see what they've been up to. And that's a great way to reach a bunch of your audience that haven't visited you, or they're ignoring your post, or they're not seeing your posts. Facebook will help you reach those inactive users of your community. Keep your personal and professional pages clearly separate. Who you are in your professional life does not necessarily reflect who you are as a person, as an individual. In fact, there are very few people that I know who would not infuriate at least half of their market segment if they got involved in their personal lives, because you act differently when you're dealing in business than when you're dealing in your personal life, and you have opinions and uh, and points of view in your personal life that may not necessarily agree with your audiences, with your market audience opinions and personal views. And so keep those things separate. Just save the heartache. It also prevents people from talking business in your private world, which annoys your friends, and it keeps your friends from talking about your personal life in front of your clients and business partners, which annoys your clients and business partners. So keep them separate, clearly separate. In fact, I even would go so far as to recommend keeping your personal pages, your personal profiles set on private, so it's friends only. So when people search for you, they search for your company, the only thing that comes up is your company and not your company and your personal page. Just from years of personal experience, it will save you lots and lots of hassle. Have only one page per group per network. And what I mean by that is, if you own Sam's Fish Market Facebook page, do not have a Sam's Fish Market Facebook page for the market, and then for the delivery guys, and then for your clients, and then for your employees. Have one page and work everything off of that. Because when people are searching for you online, because Facebook is Google searchable, and Google's the world's largest search engine, so when people are looking for your information either directly on Facebook, directly on LinkedIn, directly on Twitter, or on Google doing a Google search, they're going to pull up all of the most recent things that have been posted. And if you have multiple accounts across multiple pages for different audiences, someone who does not know where to go is going to get confused, lost, and you're going to miss out on that sale or donation. So instead, work off of one page as best you can and separate the users on that page into groups or segments, or it'd be even better, put them on an email list and use your Facebook page as a sort of mouthpiece for your company for everyone. You just don't want to confuse people on when you have different pages. Now, more commonly, it's I have an old Facebook profile and I never changed it, and so when people, because it's older but it's still kind of active, when people search for my company, they find this old page that I don't know how to get to anymore. And if that's the case, Facebook has some wonderful FAQs on how to delete, shut down, or merge your pages and profiles from the past, so that when people search for you, the only one that comes up is the one you want them to see. And if you have any questions, please just send me an email. It's andrew@foundrysocial.com. Finally, on the basics, remember that you need to have a brand. That's one image, that's 3 colors, that's 2 kinds of font, no more than that. And you need to stick to your brand. So your brand needs to look, feel, sound, be the same across every avenue and vector that someone has a chance to interact with it. So your website, your business card, your t-shirts, your Facebook pages, your Twitter accounts, your LinkedIn, all of these need to look and feel like you. Because remember, your social media presence is an avatar of you to the internet, to the digital virtual community that you're building. So that is essentially you, and people need to be able to recognize you. Because you don't have a face on the internet, you have to have a brand. So stick to your brand so people know it's you for sure when they see your stuff. All right, so the most important part of the good segment is content is king, and managing that content is going to be where we see the most benefit from social media activities. So remember to have and keep a schedule. Right here is an example of what a schedule should look like. This is the January social media editorial calendar example. I think it's a wonderful best practice to have different colored boxes on the left column, the first column, to show which networks you're on. And now this not only includes like Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest, but it also has blog posts. So yes, you should be scheduling your blog posts. We'll talk about blogs in a minute. But you want to be scheduling your content because it can easily eat into your time, and you need to know also that the stuff you're posting is playing part of a bigger picture, right? Because remember that I said earlier, this has to be useful. So the way that it's useful is that everything that you post progresses your goals. It moves you closer and closer towards achieving what you're trying to do. And the only way that you can do that is if you follow a plan. And the only way you can have a plan on social media is if you're scheduling your content to make sure that you're fitting everything inside of what your objectives are. So with your posting, try to post about once a day if you can help it. 3 to 5 times a week is the good objective across almost all networks except for Twitter, because you can post as much as you want on Twitter, it doesn't matter. But on average, you want to try to post once a day if you can help it. Here's a little graph from some studies that we've done, or that I pulled, and you can see that number of active daily users on a Facebook, essentially a Facebook profile, increased from 100 to 300 according to how many posts were done a day. One, two, or three. 3 posts a day is really hard. As long as it's quality content, it's okay, but don't drop in usefulness just to have something there. But notice that after three, no matter how many more posts you add, the number of users becomes less and less. That's because you're starting to invade people's privacy, right? You're starting to get in front of their grandkids, or you're starting to take over images of cats and stuff. And remember that when you're on social media, this is not a billboard. This is not some big public space where if someone doesn't like what they see from you, they can just ignore you and move on to the next thing. No, you're in their face, literally on their phone, in their face, in their personal space. And respect that. Respect the fact that you're in their personal space, and try not to be so frequent that you're always in their feed. Now, when you're keeping your schedule and you're posting about once a day, you want to try to follow what we call the 50-30-20 rule. So your content should be half should be asking questions, posting images that are funny or useful, focusing on engagement, trying to get conversations happening, trying to be funny, entertaining, sort of off the wall, community building, small talk, these sorts of things. If you want to focus half of your content on the nonprofit activities your for-profit enterprise engages with, for instance, this is where that fits into place. Is 50% of the content, right? It could be about you, could be about your company, could be about your people. Now, 30% of your content needs to be useful, educational, interesting, informative. So what we're talking about is, what products are you selling? Give me the detail on why I need this today. What use does it do? How is it different? What value do I have? And how did you get to be where you are today? What's your story as a professional? How did you get here? What's your motivation to do what you do? What are your objectives? You can talk about that all right here. And finally, 20% is promotion. So if you're talking sales, you're trying to get people to buy something, donate to a cause, that should be only 1 in 5 if you're posting 5 times a week. So 20% of the posts you are making on a regular basis. So that way, people are getting lots of useful information. They're getting to get to know you. They're getting to know your company. They're getting to know your brand and your objectives and your culture. And then when you ask them to do something for you, it's just an expected, normal part of engaging with an organization. It's not burdensome. It's not trolling them. You're not constantly annoying them with sales pitches. You're not being annoying and only coming over when you need something. You're being useful, and then you're telling them how they can buy stuff from you, which is, believe it or not, the second most common problem I run into when I go and see people's Facebook page. The first thing I look at is how often are you posting, and then what kinds of posts are you making. And a lot of people make 0 promotional posts ever. They just do not post what they sell. And the other side, the number one problem, is that all they do is post what they sell. And so you need a balance, right? You need to tell people how they can buy from you so that they can buy from you. But you also want to make sure that you're delivering lots of value and useful content. Speaking of that content, the vast majority of everything you post should be shared content. You should not be thinking, oh God, I have to write something every single day. No. What you should be doing is following a dozen or 20 or 30 different content creators in the same vein of what you do, that essentially do what you do, or they write towards your kind of industry, and share their information. Share their information, but try to get to know the authors, because this will come in handy when we get into the ugly section. But try to get to know the content authors, especially if they've been in the industry a while, because they're going to be extremely helpful to you in the future. But remember that you want to try to share much more content than you actually write, because when you share something, then you are first off writing a wave of popularity. So hopefully you're sharing something that's useful, and that means it's popular and already being shared. And so you're sort of a part of a small movement of people communicating with each other. You get to be part of an already established network, so you don't have to do all the work yourself. Many hands make light work. Secondly, you're helping someone else get out there, get noticed, and so that's how the social media professional to professional benefits, right? You're helping one professional get seen to your audience, and in return, your audience gets to know more about them, and then also you get to be the filter for that, the gatehouse. So finally, on keeping content, keep a blog and use it as a content garden. So I like to recommend, when you're making content, content creation is a inconsistent process. Maybe you might refer to it as writer's block or something along those lines. Creating content relies on your creativity and inspiration, right? And it comes and it goes. Inspiration is easily perishable. So when you feel in the moment, you're excited and you're positive and you're happy and you're just sort of bursting with ideas, write all those ideas down, flesh them out in a 500-word blog post with 3 or 4 pictures related to what you're talking about, and just post it all the time. Post it up to your blog post as often as you want. You take pictures at the company event, you have a video that you wanted to take of a customer having a good experience, whatever it is, post it into your blog and use it like a garden so that you can take things out, put things in, switch things around, delete, add to, share, whatever, but you're just storing stuff that grows over time. And that way, when you go to post content that comes from you onto your social media sites, you're not writing the content in social media and taking up lots of space with words or text or deep thought. You're writing short, quickly consumable blurbs of information that then link to the deeper articles that are on your blog. So keep a blog, put everything that you write and take into the blog so that you can easily get to it, and also so that when you're not feeling creative and you just don't know what you're going to write about this week, you don't need to. You just go to your blog and find an article that's relevant to what you wanted to talk about and just post that. So finally, in the good section, remember, communication, you got to do it. Relationships are built on 3 parts: time, trust, and regular communication. So the fun part about social media is that it does not require an immediate response from us, the busy business owners, to get back to the people who are trying to message us or trying to comment on our content. So social media has a 24-hour window of communication to be considered immediate responsiveness, right? So the fun part is that you can set your time. You can control your time when it comes to how you manage your social media, because you don't have to respond right away. Conversely, if you got a phone call or a text message or someone walks into your building, you've got to talk to them, right? Or else they are expecting an immediate reply right now, this minute. You don't get to them within a minute, they're like, hey, I'm being ignored, or they're just not available. On social media, that 1 minute is 24 hours. So you can set your 1 hour a day, right? When you don't feel like doing any other kind of work, you set your 1 hour a day, and that's when you go and visit all your social media channels, and that's where you go and you're replying to messages and you're commenting on people's communications and you're thanking them for sharing bits of information. And that way you can control your own schedule and you're not constantly being interrupted by conversations and happenings going on the internet. And especially, again, as a sole proprietorship, as a small business owner, you need to focus on what makes you money. And social media does not directly make you money. Social media is a multiplier on your income or your donation chain or whatever it is that you're doing. And so you want to spend as little time doing that and much more, and maximize your time doing what actually creates that income for you. So remember that when you're trying to have conversations, you're trying to talk about things, that humor and being positive and being helpful are all greater than anything that's not those 3 things. And so when you go to make posts, remember, people come to the internet to be happy, to be entertained, to be informed, to be educated. They do not come to the internet to listen to you complain about your problems or to hear about what you think is wrong. They come for solutions. They come for answers. So be helpful, be positive. Do not post things that are negative. Avoid things that are downer posts. Again, if you're going to support your local animal shelter, for instance, do not post about how many animals are killed in animal shelters each year. That's terrible. Post about the efforts your shelters are doing to try to find those animals homes instead. So again, it's a matter of perspective, right? Same issue, different perspective. Stay positive. Now, asking for permission is an incredibly important part when you go to share content. Now, there is this thing called the public domain, public access. So when you post something that is in a shareable piece of content to the internet, that means if it's on a public Facebook page, people can share that piece of content. They don't need to ask you for permission because you've already implicitly given to it when you signed the fine print agreement when you created your profile page, right? If any of you bother to read the fine print on those things, that's in there. Now, even though that's in there, you still, when you go to share someone's piece of content, want to ask for permission, especially if it's from a fellow community member who might be sharing a positive experience they had with your company, or be offering some advice, or be asking for suggestions, because they don't always know that they're talking on this public channel. And again, we don't want to be technically correct here. I mean, I love being technically correct, but this is not one of those times. You want to be absolutely correct. So don't risk annoying, frustrating, or angering your audience by sharing something that did not intend to become a piece of public communication. And secondly, on a positive note, asking someone for permission almost always has a twofold benefit. First off, they feel privileged and happy and honored that you want to share their bit of content. Even if they're a professional content creator, man, I got to tell you, that is one of the greatest feelings when someone asks, hey, can we use this for our next post, or for, can you put this in the schedule for next week because this is really great, we want to share it. That just makes you feel great no matter how big you are as a content creator. Yes, that makes you feel good. And secondly, it's sort of like waiting for Christmas to arrive, because people, when you tell them, hey, we're going to be posting it up on this date, you can guarantee that for the vast majority of civilized life, they're going to want to go watch your page for that post to show up and see what you did with it. So they're going to go look themselves, they're going to share it when they see it. That means they're going to send a signal flare up on their social media channels to all their friends, say, hey, look what I contributed to. So it's a big deal when people feel like they contributed to your content, especially if they like your page. So asking for permission is both a way to make them feel good, keep yourself out of legal limbo, and help promote organically how many people are going to see that post. Now, when we talk about asking permission and engaging with your audience, people are going to give you suggestions, especially if you're asking for them, which is a great way. Again, we talked about asking questions is a great piece of content. Act on those responses. Be responsible to your audience, right? So if they are going to give you some good ideas, credit the author of that idea, but be sure you're acting on it, because if people feel, even if it's a small thing, that they're influencing how your business works, they're going to feel much more responsible for its success. And so they're going to do a lot more work for you for free, I might add, to see you succeed. Because again, they feel like you're part of their tribe now, you're building a relationship together, and they're going to want you to succeed. And remember that after you act on those responses, after you get those positive things rolling, give thanks. And thanks at Andrew for the great advice. Make sure that it's highlighted, that they know that they're getting thanked for the thing they did. Be very specific, name, thing, and why in a short little 2-sentence thank you, because you don't want to leave it up to the ambiguous internet gods to filter down that, hey, this person gave a good suggestion, we liked it, we used it, and then they saw what we did. Don't rely on that to happen on its own. Give thanks. And again, this is sort of in the same line as asking for permission, that when you're giving thanks to someone, you're just reinforcing how important they are to you. And they are important. These are the people that are going to keep you afloat, that are going to bring you all the resources and success you want out of the world in great abundance, but you've got to recognize them. And so this is how you do that. And this is a lot easier to do as a small company with maybe 400 or 500 active users than as a big company with 10,000, 100,000 users. And again, this is why small businesses have this big advantage in the marketplace, because we can communicate with individuals. We can have people in our audience that we know. If you're a big company and you deal with hundreds of thousands of people across a state or several states, there's no way. You just can't do it. It's too big. But as a small business owner, this is your only real advantage over those big businesses, that you can get to know these people by name. And that is going to have an immense impact on your ability to do business well. All right, so moving into the second major part, the bad. Now we're going to talk about prevention over cure, because prevention is always better. If we can avoid the problem in the first place, we want to try to do that every single time. So keep sensitive information in a silo. That means close, don't share it, both digital and not in the real world as well. So again, don't go and talk to anybody about private, personal, sensitive stuff, either on the internet or in real life, because everyone pretty much has a Facebook page already to themselves. And the first thing someone's going to do when you tell them, hey, this is important, don't go talking and spreading it around, is that they're going to go talking and spreading it around. It's in fables, it's in stories that are thousands of years old. It is human nature. Yeah, I have a secret, I've got to tell somebody. And that's how viral stuff gets started. So don't share sensitive information. Keep your information secure. An example I'd like to give out is that there was a man who was I guess, a recipient of a age discrimination lawsuit, and he was given $80,000 by his school district that he was fired from for an age discrimination suit. And he told his granddaughter. His granddaughter said, "Thanks, school district, for funding our Disney World vacation. That violated their non-disclosure agreement. That means he got no money." Right? So this is an example of how talking in the real world influences your digital presence online. So again, keep sensitive information in a closed, tight, controlled silo. Don't let it out. Keep it under control. Remember to keep your schedule. We talked about having a schedule. We talked about the kind of content you want to put on that schedule. If you get off of your schedule, you will ruin all of your hard work. So keep on your schedule, make it an important part of your day that you're going to do this every single day, and you'll be fine. When you get off your schedule, that's when problems start happening. Now have a clear goal in mind. We talked about that too. When you make your schedule, it's got to be fulfilled. Half the reason you have a schedule is that it progresses you towards a goal, right? And so you can plan out your content to move you forward, to make sure that you're achieving your goal. So how do we set a good goal? I love this. It's called SMART goal. It makes tremendous sense to me. SMART, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So if it fits those 5 criteria, you've got a great goal. You can do it. And most importantly is the T, timely. Give yourself a date. Again, we talked about having a 6-month window to achieve a goal. That's a big window. You can have it in 2 weeks. I wouldn't go any less than 2 weeks because, like I said earlier, people tend to live in these 2-week windows for some reason. I was told once that people live in 2-week windows because that's when payday happens, right? Every other week or every 4 weeks you get paid. And so that changes your habit every so often. So I thought that was incredibly insightful because I had not thought of it that way before they told me. So remember that timely matters. I think more than anything else. You've got to have a realistic timeline in mind. So when you're creating posts and you're on social media sites and you're creating content, creating videos, talking to people, put yourself in that person's shoes. Think of the recipient more than yourself and try to be extra sensitive. Hey, is this something that's going to make someone mad? Is someone going to find something incredibly offensive here? Is someone going to report me for some reason or another? And it's just that a lot of problems occur because you weren't thinking of your audience. You were thinking of yourself. You saw something, you thought it was cool, but it turns out that that thing happened to be offensive to a large segment of your market. And if just 5 seconds of thinking would have prevented you from doing this, but try to put yourself in your posts when you're making them and try to be a little extra sensitive. Now, on the flip side, people are going to be mad at you. It's going to happen. It happens in real life. It happens in the virtual world. It happens everywhere, right? You cannot open your mouth and breathe without frustrating somebody. So don't let frustration dictate how you post, or fear of offending someone dictate how you post everything. But what you want to be seeing is about 90% positive, 10% negative on an average. If you're seeing your negative posts receive a negative feedback more than 10% of the time, then you should start looking at how you're posting and the kinds of content you're posting, and also consider, am I in my marketplace? A lot of people who are angry at you, by the way, are angry at you because you're not part of their buyers selection. They're not in your market, but you're marketing to them, and so they find that annoying, and so they'll come up with a reason to be mad at you. So that explains, by the way, a lot of confusion, why people get mad at you over stupid things. Finally, don't drink and post. Please don't drink and post. Just don't do it. Your brain is incredibly creative and uninhibited when it's intoxicated. That's wonderful for creative sessions, coming up with ideas. That is terrible for actually following through with those ideas. You need someone with a little pessimistic attitude, your more realistic worldview on things to filter through your posts before they go out. And again, a schedule will save you from this. So keep your schedule. All right, so part two of the bad. Most problems result from overposting. Easily the number one reason why people are unfollowing you, flaming your page, giving you negative reviews, besides though you really messing up some kind of way, is because you're posting too often and you're in their personal space. We talked about this again, that social media is not a billboard, it's not a TV ad. I can't ignore it or turn it off. It's in my face and I have to look at it, at least for the quarter second that it's there. And that space that it's taking up is competing with space for my family and my friends and the other people that that I've followed. And typically I've followed about 15, 20 other companies if I'm an average internet user, and that changes all the time. I may not be true anymore, but they're following lots of other people, right? So you're constantly competing with all of these attention grabbing things, and so keeping your posts valuable and frequent but at a good rate will keep you in the good graces of your audience. On the flip side of that is underposting. Now this is really common with people who have no idea that they actually have to build a relationship with their market, and they think, oh, I can just go buy access with a boosted post to 10,000 people, and then that'll filter down to my 100 sales I need to make this month. Yes, that will work once or twice or maybe even 10 times, but over time you will eventually dry out the internet's willingness to accommodate you because you're annoying, right? You're only coming to the public when you need them to buy something from you. That is terrible. That's annoying. You will get flagged and reported for that sort of stuff by people who just don't like that. Only time they ever see you is when you're selling stuff, and over time you will get sort of narrowed down into a group of people that are doing the same thing. So the only people that'll start to see your post are people that are not real people. They're just part of click farms, or they're just part of spammers themselves, and so you'll get sort of shut into the little kiddies segment of the internet and never see the light of day again. So underposting is just as dangerous as overposting because it doesn't, you got to build a relationship. You've got to be talking to people on a regular basis or they forget who you are. So here's something that I hear from a lot of managers of people, especially important people, that they're always posting about themselves. Typically this is the selfie craze, right? So if I'm always posting selfies about me at work and me at work and me at work and me at the beach and me at work and my cat at work and me at work and me at the beach, right? It has nothing really to do with my products. It has nothing to do with why you should care. It has nothing to do with education. It has nothing to do with my consumers and my relationships and how I'm affecting people when they come to me. So if I'm only posting about me and myself and what I think's cool, I'm just not really communicating, right? I mean, that's not how relationships work. I'm not giving people a chance to contribute to the conversation. I'm just being the conversation. And so one of the ways you get around that is this 4-1-1 ratio, or the 4-1-1 rule. So 4 pieces of relevant content, that's your resources that you've been following and storing up that you're resharing. 1 reshare. When we talk about reshare here, we're talking about it's a comment somebody else has made. It's a piece of content someone in my community has contributed. So from my community, I'm resharing something, a review, a result, a suggestion, a question, right? And then 1 self-serving post, selfie at the office, right? Selfie at the beach. 1 self-serving post, hey, buy this now, sort of a thing. So if you're running into this complaint thing where people are saying, you're not really giving me a chance to talk, think about moments in your own real life, right, where someone has said, I don't feel like you're listening to me. That's where this comes from. Now, hashtag abuse is not something that has really affected my area of the country just yet, but it's coming, and it is something that affects lots of other more high-tech regions. And so if you don't know what a hashtag is how we tell the internet what this content is about. It's how we label things so the internet understands it. So when people search for these words, it looks at the hashtags along with some other connected bits of information to sort of bring them that content. Now, tagging your content appropriately will see it double or triple in the number of active users that actually look at it and click on it and whatnot. But over tagging your content falls into that spamming category, because if you tag your content with enough tags, just you give it enough labels, it goes out and gets found by enough different kinds of searches that may or may not actually be relevant to what you're posting. That creates spam, right? And again, it's the same thing as overposting or underposting, that you're just creating this negative environment for your content to live in, and eventually just gets shunted off into the do not speak again of this trash section of the internet. So a good piece of advice on hashtag: no more than 5. And if you're going to hashtag something in your actual content, like if you're writing a short 1 or 2 sentence description of an image or whatnot, you're only going to hashtag 1 word in your description. Don't have your whole sentence filled with hashtags. That's very difficult for people to read. So 1 hashtag in the actual sentence itself if you want, and the rest beneath it. And if I'm going to make any suggestions about hashtags, I'd put location, business name, and a common misspelling when people are searching for you for your content. And finally, stop the lies. Don't lie on the internet. The internet is a immense wealth of knowledge and information, and if you're lying about something to get something from someone, they will find out about it. Or when they believe you and they follow through and then they realize that you've surprised them, people hate to be surprised, and they're going to love to flame your page and give you a dozen 0 out of 5 reviews and tell you how awful you are, and you will lose your whole audience if you are lying to people, even just a few people. So don't do it. Just tell the truth. No matter how hard it is, just tell the truth and you'll be fine. Or at least as you understand it. And if someone says, hey, I don't think you're telling the truth, or you're a liar, explain to them why you're not. You want to be able to do that. So don't lie, because the internet will find out. So managing your mistakes. All right, so on the internet, on social media, either say you're sorry or don't, okay? Do not try to cop out with, we apologize for any inconvenience. Yes, if you have to apologize, it was inconvenient, and that phrase is dismissive of me as an individual, because social media is not about the 10,000 people who are looking at your page every day. It's about the one at a time. It's a one-to-many relationship, but it's one-to-one for your audience. So they feel personally connected to your company. You have to treat them that way. So, if you make a mistake and you bump into someone in the elevator, you say, oh, I'm sorry. You don't go, I apologize if that was inconvenient. Okay? Stay true, stay focused on whether or not you're actually sorry. And again, if you're not sorry, don't apologize. Just don't. Because again, a lot of people that you're going to run into are just not part of your market. They're going to be mad and they're going to leave, and that's okay. Don't be sorry for being who you are. So save the explanations for the solution. Again, the internet you need to be positive on the internet. If you have a problem or something's not working, just say, hey, we're having a problem, we're working to fix it, right? Do not explain in great detail what the problem is. No one really cares what the problem is. They just want the thing they can't get. So don't explain what the problem is. Just say, we're working on it. We're still working on it. Thanks for your continued interest in what we do. I'll let you know as soon as we're done. And then when you're done, offer them an explanation on what you did. Focus on the positive, on how you've progressed things, and how you've made the world a better place by being not broken, right? So just again, people don't care why your stuff doesn't work, or why they can't get something, or why something's broken, or why you messed up. They just do not care. They only want to know what you're going to do to fix it. So focus on that and save your energy for the happy, positive results of your work and effort. Now, sometimes, in fact, pretty often, people want to buy something from you. They'll ask you to buy something from you that you cannot comfortably provide. All right, that is going to happen if you have an active community. So make sure, again, put one more reason in the checkbox, and the reason of why I need to stay in touch with my fellow content producers that I'm sharing from is that when I know these people that are writing this content and doing the same kind of work that I'm doing, I know that I can refer people to them and that they're going to get a good result, right? So yes, I'm passing up a chance to make a little bit of money, or maybe a lot of money, but I'm saving face and I'm saving the value of my community by making sure that my community member is what I said is first. You as part of my community come first. If I can't provide you the best, I know the person who can, and I'll get you in touch with them as soon as I'm able. And so they're getting a great product that they wanted. You don't have to learn to do something you're not comfortable doing, and everyone's happy. Now, when you do that, I would say have a relationship with your preferred referral partner and get a little kickback. Try to get a little share to that income so that you're still making some money from your effort. Now, when you make a mistake and you said you're sorry, try to make people feel special, right? They know that you're trying to fix the problem, or they trust you, but go to the extra effort of writing them a letter, right? And saying, hey, we're sorry this happened. It's fixed now. We hope that you enjoy your new product because our last one broke, or something like that. Writing someone a letter takes all of 5 minutes. It costs all of 38 cents, and it will make you a friend for life. Writing someone a letter, making them feel special when they're feeling hurt, is exactly how you turn an enemy, someone who's flaming your page and giving you a lot of negative reviews, into your lifelong friend who will offend you to the death. So making someone feel special in this moment of mistakes and error, and you're going to make mistakes. People expect you to make mistakes. And again, this is the difference between social media and mass communication marketing, is I get a chance to say sorry and make a difference. So do that. Make them feel special, and you will make friends for life. Now, finally, if you have a fight or an argument, sit down with people. Now, the first picture is sometimes how I feel about when I say I want to sit down with somebody. I want to sit on them. I just want to ugh. But you need to focus on the fact that you are a professional first. Okay? So you're a professional first. You need to sit down in person, work out your issues, take a picture, post it up saying, hey, look, this is us. We resolved our problems. Or hey, this is how we say sorry in my company. Take you out for coffee. Rhino Coffee just opened in downtown Shreveport. Great place. If you have a coffee house wherever you're at, I highly recommend it because it's a public place. Someone who's mad at you is less likely to yell at you, and it's coffee. Coffee will make you feel good. It ups your feel-good hormones. So, all right, getting into the final segment of the presentation, the ugly. First off, when we talk about ugly, we're talking about you've messed up. This is big mistake. You've shared someone's private information. You've posted something, a comment that is not true. You've made a serious mistake, and this can happen, and don't be scared. And sometimes it's not you. Sometimes you have people talking to each other, and this is the scary part. When people are talking to each other in the comment sections of certain kinds of posts, they get very ugly sometimes. And sometimes you have people who've made it their goal in life to be ugly to other people in comment sections of popular posts. We call them trolls. So when you come across these sorts of things, first off, don't panic. Okay, you can easily make the situation so much worse. You can end up in jail by panicking and reacting in fear and anger to what you see and experience. So also remember, always have a towel. So some problems are serious, and everyone will have their moment. These are not your day-to-day normal mistakes. These are serious, I messed it up, I need to go to the courthouse and file some paperwork kind of mistakes, right? So everyone will have mistakes. It's okay. Now, when we talked about put one more reason why you need to keep in touch with your content shared co-producers, is that people who have been in the industry longer than you have will have probably done the same mistakes that you have, right? So they'll know what to do. So keeping a relationship open with your people that you're sharing content from will let you use them as sort of a mentor capacity in these instances where you're just, I got no idea what to do now. Everyone's mad at me and I just don't know what to do. They'll know exactly what to do because they've swum this river before. So along those lines, seek trustworthy advice, use your content sources. You want to stay true. You don't want to be looking for advice on the internet at 3:30 in the morning dealing with a problem. That is awful, right? Your mind is just not in a good place to be thinking of positive, useful solutions. You're in panic mode, or you're upset, or you're stressed, or you're 3:30 in the morning. You're probably kind of tired. You want to be prepared for these things well in advance. So again, developing relationships with people who write for your industry will help you have someone on the phone that you can text right away if you need it, or email and get a quick response from when you need a quick response for a solution to a problem that you're having. So Don't forget, in the midst of solving your problems, that you need to focus on creating a solution that creates a preferable result. A lot of times, especially now, this will happen if someone is trying to return your product or they're complaining. Say your product, you say you make a widget, right? And you deliver it, it gets delivered to this person's home and it catches on fire, boom. That's pretty bad. Now they want a refund. They want you to, the house didn't burn down, but they want you to essentially give them enough money so they can move out of the problems. This is what people do. This is where you get punitive lawsuits and sorts of things. And immediately promising to do everything, deliver the world and on a silver platter to people who you have genuinely made a mistake towards is not how you survive as a business, because those people do not care whether or not you have a profit next month to pay your employees with, right? They only care about getting as much as they can out of this real mistake that you've made. So remember to always keep in mind you have to have a solution you can live with, not just one that solves the problem right now. So sometimes the problem isn't you. Sometimes the problem is your audience or someone who's pretending to be, camouflaged as a member of your audience trying to stir up trouble. So if people are fighting in the comment section or they're posting these negative reviews that just are not true, offer an explanation on why they're wrong. Be short and be clear and offer a solution. Be solution focused. Do not just be I'm right because I said so. Say I'm right because of this. And that's all you need to say. You don't need to give a great big essay on why you're right, or you don't need to offer statistics and scientific analysis and empirical data on why you're right. You just need to say, this is why I'm right, this is the reason that I'm right, and this is the end of the discussion. If you still have a problem, let's focus on a different solution. Finally, don't forget that the internet is a fast-moving river of information. It is constantly flowing and ebbing and moving with new information more every hour of the day than you can understand or comprehend. So a lot of the times, if the problem is not continuous, it's just one or two little things, you can probably just let it be. A lot of things that we think of as big deals are not really that big a deal. You just got to give it enough time and it'll flow down the river and issue over. So don't try to avoid making mountains out of molehills as it is. Don't make a big problem out of what is essentially a small issue just because it makes a few people mad. So again, give problems the space they need to try to work themselves out if at all possible. All right, so sometimes we royally screw up, right? So the first thing you have to do when you're dealing with someone that you've made a mistake, you've delivered the wrong product, you've revealed their personal information, you have made a mistake somehow, and they're complaining about it to you over your Facebook page, move the conversation offline. Call them, email them, move it to a private messaging system. Do not argue with someone in public. All right, your page is a public domain place. People can see those conversations happening. Again, you don't want to expose people to the negativity, even if they don't really care, even if they're on your side. They don't want to see this person that's upset. They just don't. So don't expose that negativity to the public. Move that conversation offline. Now, when you're having these conversations, remember to listen first, then offer solutions. All right, solutions are how you move forward when problem solving, not trying to go back and forth saying, you're stupid. No, you're stupid. That doesn't get you anywhere. If someone says you're stupid, you say fine, whatever, but you're mad because you didn't get the product that you wanted. Can we get you a different one? Again, ignore the personal insults. Be the professional. This is part of what it means to be a professional. You've got to deal with your problems in a way that results in a solution you can live with. So offer solutions, not retorts. Don't be clever if it helps. Try to overcompensate. So when you are resolving an issue, and again, this is when you're in the wrong, you are clearly in the wrong, it's your fault, you messed up, right? Overcompensate. If it's your product or your service or you didn't deliver, then give them their money back and a thank you or an I'm sorry card and maybe a gift certificate to a restaurant. You can go to Sam's Club anywhere in the country and get $20 worth of gift cards or movie tickets or something. It takes very little money and very little time and very little effort to make it extra special I'm sorry note to this person that you've messed up with. So make sure that they understand that you messed up and you're sorry. Okay, do not let it be just equivalent exchange. because we're not Walmart. We cannot absorb 100 angry followers because we messed up one time. Okay, we are small businesses. We rely on every single individual contributing to our positive forward motion. So they're all important. Remember that. Now, don't forget to follow up. So if you're going to go through all this effort, right, you're going to send them a card, you're going to say, I'm sorry, you're going to overcompensate, you're going to move the conversation offline so no one's embarrassed at the end of the day for things they said when they were mad. Follow up. Give the problem 2 weeks to conclude. After it's concluded, to really conclude, call them, say, hey, are you still happy with the solution we reached, right? Yes or no? And if no, try to solve it some more. But focus on making sure they stay happy, because if they're not happy, right? If they're not happy, what they're doing is they're complaining. And they're complaining online. They're complaining to their friends who are complaining online. They're creating this negative atmosphere around you and your corporation, you and your company. This is called reputation management. So if you wanted to Google a term on things you can do, this is called reputation management. Following up will help you tremendously it helped you tremendously in building up a positive, continuously positive reputation that protects you from negativity from the outside. And finally, last piece of advice, get to know a lawyer just in case, and do this as just a regular part of your business activities on what you do as a professional, as a nonprofit manager, as a business owner. Get to know a lawyer, civil and criminal. And this should not cost anything. You should meet them just going out to business socials, visit your local chamber events, go to the local bar association and ask for some recommendations on who are some good attorneys. Take them out to coffee, take them out to lunch or something. Just get to know them, because you want to know who you're dealing with when you have a real problem, right? When someone gives you a summons and you're being served something, and that can happen just sort of all of a sudden. You had no idea you were being sued until you're being sued, right? So you're being sued is not the time to go and look for a lawyer. Or and most commonly what happens here is when the owner of a company is yelling at someone over the internet, and it's become inflammatory, and they've made a threat of some kind, and now you're being charged with terroristic threats, and now you're being sued for damages and defamation of this individual because there were another person who knows what all those words mean, and you didn't. Then again, you want to be prepared. So again, you need to know your lawyers, your legal professionals, because I don't mean this sounds scary, but the internet is much more matured now than it was just 5 years ago, right? So there's a lot more laws on the books now. There's a lot more ways to get in trouble, legally speaking, that are complicated because they're laws. So you want to know a lawyer to help sort through all that mess if it comes down to that. All right, so here's the fun part. When it's them, we all get a wonderful tool called the ban hammer, right? And so let's talk about when we get to use it, how do we use it, and what do we do? So a person who's banned can't post, comment, like, or take other actions on a page. They won't be notified either. Now this is Facebook, right? Banning policy. When you're banning people, it's because they're continuously flaming your page, they're lying about you, they're just causing trouble. You are the owner of this world. You are God to your virtual world that you've created. This is yours, and so you can do what you want with it, including banning who gets to live there, and deciding who gets to comment and what they can do when they're there. So remember that. Keep that in mind. You don't have to put up with someone who's just there to cause trouble. Get rid of them. So my pattern of behavior when considering whether or not to ban someone is I offer an explanation on why what they're doing is wrong, because I deal with a wide variety of people from a wide variety of cultures, and a lot of times they just don't understand that what they're saying or doing is wrong, or they understand that what they're doing or saying might be offensive or might be insulting, but that's what they intended. But what they don't usually understand is just how harsh they're being, or how wrong they're being, or sometimes they're just being stupid, right? And they don't really think about the fact they're being stupid, or they know they're being stupid and they're sorry and they're regretful. So you don't want to kick out people who just made a mistake, because again, we all make mistakes. You want to kick out people who are there to intentionally mess up your community because they think it's funny. So you see, I offer an explanation, then I give a warning, and then gone, you're done. So I like to always post why I put the hammer down. Now this is both for deleted posts and for banned users, because people can see this is occurring, right? Even if there's no notice, they'll look one day and then there's this thing they're all mad about and they complain about, the next day it's gone, right? Don't just let it sort of be in the nebulous kind of I wonder what happened. Let people know exactly what happened. You kicked them out, you deleted the post, and here's why. You don't, again, don't be very long-winded and explanatory on all the problems, but when you delete a post, when you ban a user, just, this is what we did and this is why we did it. And that's it. 2 or 3 sentences, that's all you need. So the way you do this is in your comment section, there's going to be a little gear, and you can go and select that and click remove post, remove ban user, hide post, or report as abuse. And we'll go over reporting in just a second. So when you're removing posts, that process is the same across almost all networks. It's in the post itself is a little drop down menu, and that's how you get to that. Now you can go to people. If you go to your business profile, there's in a column of selectable topics, there's people, and you can go to people, and then there will be a list of banned individuals. And so if you wanted to unban someone, that's how you do that, is you go to the people section of your business profile. The people section, by the way, is also where you would assign privileges like being an administrator or a commenter or an editor of a page. Okay, so reporting. So a Facebook reporting guide, just so you know what happens when you report. Reporting is a step above banning or deleting a post, that you're saying, hey, this person is a serious problem, and so I'm going to report them. And what Facebook will do is Facebook will take care of all the legal action, all of the socially acceptable processes, and Facebook's pretty quick. Facebook's really good. To give you an example, if someone or a group of someone's, and this can happen again if you don't have clear separation between your personal life and your business page, your professional business page, arguments in one will carry over to the other, and people will start to point out where you live, where your kids live, where you go to school, and all these other things that are just awful about the internet and the people that live there. That is reportable offense, and do that immediately, and Facebook will take care of it. And the reason why Facebook to take care of it is because you've got to go to a higher authority, let them sort it out, right? Because Facebook, if they deem it necessary, will then involve the higher authorities than them, police forces, FBI, Homeland Security, whatever. So reporting will help you along with that. It's an easy way to get problems off your chest if you're having a real problem on your professional pages. And that is it, the conclusion of our presentation. I hope y'all got a lot out of it. If you have any problems at all, please send me an email, or questions or comments, or you want to know more, send an email to andrew@foundrysocial.com. You can also visit my Facebook page at facebook.com/foundrysocial, or visit our website www.foundrysocial.com and see when we're having our next events. Subscribe to Constant Contact, or just send me a message. Anyway, thank you for attending. I hope you all got a lot out of this, because I love putting them on. Talk to you next time.